Hartery here today with another episode of Presenting Champions. And today I'm joined by Commonwealth Games Bronze medalist, standout amateur Ashley John Williams. Great boxer, had a great amateur career. Obviously fighting out of Wales. We're going to be talking today about his past achievements, current life today, and what the future holds as well in terms of the pro game or whatever's going to happen next. And as always, we'll have a little bit of inspiration, a little bit of mindset based topics as well. So champ, thank you for coming on the show, mates. And I appreciate you making the time for it, to be honest.
Brilliant, mate. Thank you. All good, mate. Thanks for approaching and asking for the interview. It's all good to get exposure in these ways, mate. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries at all, mate. No worries at all. So obviously starting at the beginning, I mean, you achieved a lot as an amateur. When you look back on that now, can you share with us some of your proudest moments? Because there's so much to talk about. I think the only way to sort of condense this down a little bit would be to talk about a few of your favorite memories to start things off, please.
So I think one of the highlights of my career would be standing on the Commonwealth podium, representing Wales. Something you dream of as a kid. Being in a major tournament, representing your country. And I got to captain Wales in the Commonwealth Games for the boxing. So yeah, that was most probably one of the highlights of my career. That one.
Absolutely. Yeah, amazing achievement and something to be very, very proud of. Obviously, I was reading up on your amateur achievements and your record and things like that, but how many amateur fights did you have altogether for people who don't know?
So I had around 70, 80 amateur fights. Because I was boxing internationally, I just lost track of the record, to be honest. And since turning pro, I've had a look at my amateur card and I haven't been able to find it. So I had about 70, 80 fights, winning about a 70-30 split. Being international was hard, constantly go abroad, fighting the best in the world. It's what you dream of doing, but it was hard to do. Do you know what I mean? To constantly get wins abroad.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Let's touch on that for a minute. What were some of the coolest places that boxing took you in terms of competing abroad that you wouldn't have?
You're lucky. It's a country that I thought was only on Borat, and it was Kazakhstan.
Yeah.
Don't mention Borat out there; they don't like you. But I'd never heard of Kazakhstan before, and I got to fight in Almaty, so the capital of Kazakhstan, which was an amazing experience. Being with Team Wales in the World Championships, going on to Kazakhstan. Been to Russia 3-4 times. I've been Morocco. I've been all over the world really, boxing, which is a dream.
Absolutely amazing. It's really cool to hear the stories, and it's inspiring, obviously, for other boxers out there who are maybe starting out or just starting on their journey. But we'll come back to that later. Before we do, obviously, you fought the best in the world. A long list of great names. What were some of your toughest fights from your amateur career in general? Whether it's not just obviously the people who hit the hardest, but maybe it's technical ability, or maybe it's something that was going on in your life outside of the ring.
As an international boxer, you couldn't put a name on who was the toughest, because they're all tough in their own ways. Like you said, you have your technical fighters and you have your guys who will stand and fight with you. But like the names that I fought, you look at like Josh Taylor. I fought Josh Taylor, unified super lightweight champion. I boxed Paddy Barnes. Went on to didn't quite win a world title, I don't think, but he boxed for a world title twice. But I went to the Olympic Games and was bronze medalist, I believe, for Ireland. I boxed the likes of Josh Taylor. I boxed Joe Cordina as an amateur. Sean McGoldrick. Many of names who you can also see there we're quite a high caliber of opponents to be boxing, quite a high level.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, the highest level it is, 100%. Do you
Yeah.
do you keep in touch with any of those lads now? Like obviously some of the Welsh lads, Joe and Sean and those guys. Do you keep in touch with any of them these days?
Yeah, so I got your likes of Sean McGoldrick, stuff like that. We're actually taking part with the Welsh setup still as coaches. You got a yeah, you got a few of the lads there. You got Zach Davis, who I travelled the world with, an international boxer, quality international boxer in his time. Turned professional, but professional game didn't take his liking, and he's gone into the Welsh setup now as an assistant coach alongside Colin Jones. Yeah, I keep in touch with like Joe Cordina and stuff like that. I always message him to say like well done, and I mean if I ever see him about that, suppose I hope they would always say hello to me. Do you know what I mean? But the likes of I tell you a good story. The likes of Anthony Joshua. I seen him in Sheffield back in when was this? Back when he was fighting just fought Klitschko. So this would have been 2018, 2019. I seen him in Sheffield training with Rob McCracken, and he came up to me, and I weren't expecting him to even acknowledge me because I hadn't seen him in a long time. And yeah, it was nice. He came up, he said hello. Yes. So I mean, I still keep in touch on Facebook and stuff like that. But as you can understand, every man goes his own ways, don't they? Do you know what I mean? They got their lives, I got mine, and yeah, it's keep in touch, but not on like a personal level where we text each other every day.
Yeah, I get what you mean. That's a cool story. That's a very, very cool story. Thank you for sharing something like that, behind the scenes. And I also have to ask on that subject, when you won the bronze medal and everything, what was the reaction like coming home just from your community, your family, your mates, all that type of thing?
Yeah, it was. I had a bit of a setback from it. I came back and like everybody was like, I mean, was my best mate at the time. Everyone's messaging me, congratulations, you've done amazing. Came home and everybody was all excited for me, and then all of a sudden nobody wanted to know me again, and it was quite hard to settle back into normal life after it.
Yeah, I bet. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? When you're on top, everybody wants to know, and it's only
Exactly. And
yeah,
then yeah, it's only when you hit rock bottom, nobody's there. You're like, whoa, well, I mean, where are all these people?
yeah,
But I suppose I mean, that taught me a lesson, kind of thing. That I thought everyone, I mean, was going to be sticking by me all the way through that time. And then obviously 3 4 weeks later, back to being Ashley Williams again. It was quite hard.
yeah. Well, it does go to show what it's like. I mean, I remember hearing this story with one particular boxer, winning a world title, and I think he had like 1,500 missed calls or something. When he lost the world
Yeah,
title, he had
yeah,
two.
it's unreal, unreal. Like the amount of messages I had, and I'm at the time like I had a blue tick on Twitter, like which made me like a public figure, and people were ringing me. I didn't, messaging me. I didn't even know. They were all saying congratulations, and yeah, if I mean, if the crazy thing is, a couple of weeks later, if they seen me in the street, they wouldn't have even known me. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's mental. You always got to focus on the loyal people who stick by you through thick and thin.
Yeah, if I got any advice to anyone who does make it there, is like, do you know what I mean? The ones who are close to you will always be close to you, but obviously the ones who are messaging from a distance are only there for the time being.
Yeah. Well, it's a powerful lesson. I mean, it's really like the inside track on what it's like to be famous for a while. And I hear this a lot. It's not all it's cracked up to be,
Yeah.
So yeah, I get where you're coming from. Do you have any other
Yeah.
advice that you'd give to people who are maybe starting out as boxers, or maybe people who want to chase their dream in general,
Yeah.
if it's something
But
else?
one thing for me, which was which was a massive step in my career, was at a young age. I joined the military, so I'm in the army. So I joined the army at 17, which then allowed me to be paid to do what I love. Because the army, they support their full time boxing,
Yeah,
and their setup of the army team is just as good, if not as good, as down at GB. Um, they train 3 times a day or twice a day. Well, they have all day to train. Do you know what I mean? And they have a strength and conditioning coach. They watch the. You know what I mean, they have diets there. They eat their set meals and stuff. Um, and that was one of the big steps in my career where I was able to be a full time boxer.
yeah,
So obviously, as a kid, I had school, so I'd run in the morning, I'd attend school, then I'd go in the afternoon, I'd go and train in the gym. Um, but the in between, I was in school and I was busy, and I mean, you were doing things. Um, and then obviously, I joined the army. I had my training and stuff like that to do, and then suddenly I became full time boxing on the army boxing team. And from there, within 2 years of being on the army boxing team, I was on Team GB. That's how much of a step it made for me.
yeah. That is an incredible story, man. I mean, it really shows some of the lessons you've learned along the way, and wow, yeah, very cool. I'm glad we got to mention that because I had to ask you about the army stuff. So yeah, I'm glad we got to give that a mention. Um, let's talk a little bit about some of your plans for the future as well, because obviously we spent a little bit of time looking back. I mean, I've seen with the pro side of things, you had one fight there, I think, but what's actually happening with like your plans for the future and what you're aiming for next, basically?
Yeah, so I turned professional last year in November. In September, sorry. I then had a fight in November. I signed with Lee Eaton, under Let's Go Promotions, or Let's Go Management now. He's lost the promotions, but he's decided to go as strictly as a manager. So yeah, I went with Lee and I had a fight in November last year, yeah. And then I haven't had a fight since. It's been a bit of ups and downs. So I've been ready to fight, but every time I've been ready to fight, either the fights have been pulled, or or the money's not like, or the ticket sales. I mean, stuff like that. So the professional game is yeah, it's a hard game to succeed. And you have to have the backing behind you to be able to make it. I took a 5-year gap from boxing before I went professional. It was one of them COVID things where I thought, if I don't do it now, I'm never gonna do it. Now I was 31 at the time, and I thought, if I don't do it now, I'm never gonna do it. So I just thought, I'm gonna give it a go. Me and my wife had a good chat, and she said she was willing for me to commit to it. So that's a big step. If you've got a family, you've got to have your family to commit as well. It's not just you. So my wife accepted the commitment, and I turned professional. But like I said, I've had one fight in 10 months. It's hard. At the minute, I've just released my contract with Lee Eaton. We come to an agreement, and he released my contract. So at the minute, I'm without a manager. Um, looking for. I'm in chats with management at the minute, and hopefully I'll have a management deal soon where I can get back out.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, we all want to see you in action, and obviously there's some good fights out there for you as well. So
There's definitely good fights out for me. I'm 32. I'm not done yet. I've got I've got a lot to give, and I believe I'm an entertaining fighter. All I need is like you say, within the professional game, I just need the backing. Need people to buy the tickets to come and watch me, which is it's not as easy as people think. So you're asking people to spend their hard-earned money, and I mean, sometimes the fights on the cards and stuff, they ain't they ain't what you'd like them to be. You know before you get there who's going to win. And that's the only bit about boxing I don't like is I mean, 50-50 fights. Uh, I mean, I'd advise anyone before they turn professional to have an amateur career, have some kind of experience, so you're ready for the step. Do you know what I mean? Because if you're going straight into professional boxing, you get boxing these journeymen and stuff like that. You're building, but you're calling a crowd. You're calling people who come in to pay their hard earned money to come and watch you box.
Yeah. No, that's the other side of it, isn't it? I mean, those fights where you sort of know who's won before you get there, and obviously,
It shouldn't happen. Shouldn't happen. So 50-50 fights. I said when I signed with Lee, I said to him, look, I'm 31 years old. I'm ready for title. I believe I'm ready for titles now. You put me, you know what I mean? You put me in a fight now, and I'll give any title a go. I believe I'm ready now for, I mean, a Welsh title or what if I could. There's nobody in Wales at my weight, but um, I mean, I box at Superfly, so there's nobody in Wales around my weight. There may be someone at Bantam, maybe, but I mean, that weight might be a little bit too big for me. I fight. I mean, I fight normally at that weight, but for titles where I would really want to be having the good fights at, and where I'm really going to be hitting it hard, and going for 10 or 12 rounders, Superfly would be the weight I'd fight at. I believe I'm ready for anyone at that weight now.
absolutely, yeah. I mean, well, so do I with your experience and everything like that, and obviously the fact you're staying ready. You know, you're obviously training hard and everything as you mentioned. So, yeah, fingers crossed it comes together. I can understand, obviously, with your experience wanting to be in those 50-50 fights. So
I don't want to fight genuine. I'm not. I don't see. The thing about fighting genuine is I've said to, I said to Lee when we first signed and everything, and when I've been with the managers that I've been talking to lately, I've said to him, I'm not willing to pay. I'm not willing to have someone to come and watch me who's gonna. Well, I'm not have someone who's gonna come and fight me, who's coming to lose. He's turning up to lose. What's the point in that? I'm not pay. I'm not. I don't work. I don't work as hard as I do to pay somebody to come and lose. I want to fight someone who wants to turn up to win, just like as much as I do. So we can have a good 50-50 fight. And if I win, brilliant. I win the fight. I mean, if I lose, you never lose in boxing. You learn. So you never lose. It's a lesson learned, and I'll go again. I put too many people in professional boxing are too worried about the loss. A loss is something you learn off. It's never a loss. You learn off it.
yeah, absolutely. Well, this is the thing, isn't it? I mean, everyone wants to keep the old, they want to keep their perfect record, but you know, you look at history, pretty much all the great fighters have lost, and it never affects. I mean, I know you've got guys like Mayweather and Kazaki and all that who never lost, but most,
Yeah, that's an exception, isn't it? You have people like that who are an exception. I
yeah,
mean, like you look at like Crawford now, Errol Spence, both 50-50 fights. They're the type of fights we want to see. And we want to see these fights on the lower level as well. We want to see like 50-50 fights on the small hall shows. Do you know what I mean?
big time.
These fights should be like these are what will bring a crowd and I mean we'll have more people coming to watch us then, rather than me struggling to sell tickets because they know it well. They think I'm going to fight a little journeyman who's turning up to take a pay package.
Yeah. Yeah, big time. I mean, it's some of the changes that boxing needs to make, you know, more 50-50 fights, because then it wouldn't be having the influence of all this influence of boxing and all this other stuff, because, you know, people will just be focused on 50-50 fights, you know. Absolutely. Yeah. It is a business at the end of the day.
The only thing is then though, you'd have less people turning pro because they know that they turn pro and they'll take losses.
Yeah.
But too many people scared to lose, man. They'll never be scared of a loss, especially it's same as in the amateurs. You never lose, you learn. So get out there, give it a go. If you lose, you learn. If you don't, you carry on. You carry on with the winning record. Brilliant.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, that's the thing. You've got to have a strong mind as well as a strong body, and you know, to be,
Yeah, at least the crowd are getting what they pay for, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's it. The fans get what they want to see. So
Definitely, yeah, and they get to see good shows then. Makes it more exciting. It's like you look at like top tier. Top tier are doing a a good little thing where they have like three or four 50-50 fights on their shows. They have a like just before released the contract, we were in talks of having a fight with Harvey Owen. Now Harvey Owen is a good fight. Me and Harvey Owen were on GB together. Me and him would be a good fight, and I believe that fight should be for a title. You know what I mean, but we would have fought, um, but obviously with my management, I haven't been able to get the fight over the line because of stuff that's happened with my manager. So, I mean, I'm willing to fight someone like that on my second fight. You don't hear of that these days. These people should be coming out and fighting.
yeah. Big time. I'm with you on that. I mean, it's definitely setting the world to rights in terms of some changes boxing can make as a business. Let's talk about the last couple of things, and we'll wrap this up shortly. But obviously, just to give people an insight into your training on a day-to-day basis, a little bit that you can share about that, what's happening behind the scenes, because you're obviously staying very sharp, very active at the moment, and a lot of people will know about this, but I like to touch on it. We've talked about having a strong mind as well as a strong body, which you've obviously got the warrior mentality and all that. But in terms of training day to day, what can you share with us a little bit about your regime and what you're doing at the moment?
Yeah. So at the minute, I'm in the military, still serving. I'm on my 15th year point at the minute. So I've done a good whack in the army so far. Um, I'm at 160 Brigade. I've just moved last week to Brecon in 160 Brigade, with a regional engagement team. So I'll be going into schools and talking about the army, talking about my career, talking about my experiences and how the army has benefited me, and hopefully in the long run, try and recruit some people to follow in the footsteps of like so myself or others who have joined. So that's what I'm doing like day to day, and then around that, then I train. So I do my runs in the morning, and then I go to the gym. And at the minute, I'm training with Tony Borg, which is about an hour away from where I am in Brecon. So on Sunday and stuff like that, I'll go up do some sparring. I'll pop up with some pads in the afternoons and stuff. And then I'm going to look to see about coaching and stuff also in Brecon Phoenix, Brecon Phoenix Amateur Gym. Something I am quite passionate about also is giving back. Boxing has given a lot to me, so I'd like the opportunity. Well, I can't get the opportunity to give back by going to amateur gyms and sharing my experience and helping the young ones come along. Innit? That's what it's about. Give it back, share the
Absolutely.
experience, share the love, as I say.
Yeah, well, it's true, 100% true. Yeah, I mean, you've reached those, those high levels. So giving back is a beautiful thing to be doing. Last couple of things, champ, and I'll let you carry on with your afternoon. But people you'd like to thank in terms of people helping you, sponsors, people who are helping you along in the journey. I think we need to give them a quick mention as well, if that's all right.
Yeah, so I have a few sponsors, Small Solutions. I got Joey at the Plumbing Solutions and stuff. I have Combat Sports supplements. Yeah, I got Stonehenge in. I have a few sponsors who supported me along the way, which is really appreciated. Another one who has also supported me massively is my amateur coach, who was my best man at my wedding, Guy Roberts. Yeah, he's been there with me all the way through. Um, Never, if I ever was going to question anything, I'd give him a ring just for his advice. And yeah, you got your like your Colin Joneses who was there for me with the Welsh setup. Yeah, there's a lot of people to thank during my time in my career. Not just obviously not just see you got the sponsors and everything who've helped me along the way, which is really appreciated because they are spending their hard earned money to allow me to pursue my dream, doing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I like to give them a good shout out. Nice big mention on here. And pretty much the last thing, I mean, we've mentioned about people spending their hard-earned money to watch you fight and to support grassroots boxing in general. But what would you say to people, to the genuine people now who support you? And I'm not talking about the people who are sort of coming and going, like what we were saying earlier, but the people who have
Yeah.
actually stuck by you in terms of when you're an amateur or now as a pro. What would you say to those people from the point of view of the fans and the people who watch you fight or support you in that way, basically?
Well, you can only all well. The most thing you can say is thank you, but I mean, those type of people, they don't come along very easy, and just stay true to them. They're staying true to you. Stay true to them people, because yeah, there's not many people like that who are there when it's hard, and then obviously they're there through the easy times when you're succeeding. But then when it gets hard and say something goes wrong, it's only them people around you you'll need them when it goes rough. You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah, absolutely. Well, we've talked about some good stuff. Obviously, the future is very, very bright. I know you've been through a bit of a rough patch, but like I said before, there's some brilliant fights out there for you. So keep on pushing, and the right things will come together. I love the work you're doing with giving back as well, and everything you mentioned there. Keep doing that, because this new generation coming through now, they need. Well, they need all the help they can get, not disrespecting anyone, but people really need good role models these days. So
Of
keep up the good work, mate. I want to thank you very much for your time. Thank you for coming on the show, and I hope it shows a few more people the sort of behind the scenes of your story and everything like that. When I release this, I'll tag you. Obviously, be very grateful for a reshare. And other than that, just keep in touch, and I look forward to following the next steps of your journey. Basically, simple as that.
Cheers, mate. Cheers, appreciate it.
No worries
Cheers.
at all. Hope it helps. Have a good afternoon, mate. I'll speak to you soon. Okay. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the Simply Inspired YouTube channel, and there'll be more videos coming soon.